Howdy, howdy, this is Crazy Grinding back again with an arena cutoff video for Marvel Contest of Champions. Today I'm going to cover round one predictions for the new Taskmaster and Vulture arenas. So the first thing I like to do is kind of classify how do I think these arenas will stack up to previous arenas. This allows me to then take a look at the past results for those arenas in terms of their cutoffs and do some trend analysis to kind of figure out where I think these cutoffs will ultimately land. Of course, with your input from the community as well, helps me figure out those predictions. So anyway, when it comes to the Vulture four-star basic arena, I think he's going to be a mid-interest champion. And as for Taskmaster three-star and four-star arenas, I think this is an interesting one because this is the second time we get Taskmaster as the feature champ just within a month. I mean, it was only a month ago when he first came in, and then we get the second chance with him as a feature champ just because during that first time around, that second round was hampered by bad game performance. So, with that being the case, I wasn't really sure what to do in terms of this is going to be more like new champ cutoffs or old champ cutoffs. So, this is one of the areas I definitely went back to the community, went back to you and asked for your help tied to that arena preview cutoff. So, have a question mark right now on these. Now, so we'll kind of quickly take a look at the trends related to mid-interest four-star basic champs. You can see they range anywhere from 2.7, which we had recently with Punisher 2099, plus also King Groot not too long ago, to all the way to 4.1 that we had with Yondu, and then you have plenty of champs with first-round cutoffs in between, like you can see with Angela at 3 million. Now, when it comes to Taskmaster, again, I wasn't sure which force, is it going to be more like a new champ, which in my opinion, he is kind of still like a new champ, but do we think the arena results are going to match that? And you can see arena first round results for new champs, four-star feature, land anywhere from 16.4 to the all-time new high that we have now that we recently had with Void coming in at 20.2 million. But when it comes to old champs, that number has a pretty significant drop, and it goes down to anywhere from 9.2 million, like we had with Nightcrawler, to 11.7, like we had recently with Archangel. Now, when it comes to three stars, though, really there's only one time we see for the three-star feature any high numbers, and that's with the first time through. So the first round of the first time through, that's when you see significant high numbers, well, significant compared to these, normally around 1.4, 1.5 million. But anytime second round or our second time coming up kind of thing, I think we always see these numbers jump down around 700, between 700 and 800,000, as you can see here, which I think is what we're going to see again here with Task Manager. Even though Taskmaster, not manager, but Taskmaster, even though this is he is the feature champ kind of stuff, and still considered a new champ. But anyway. Um, Now, when it came to the community's input, one of the questions I asked is, what do you think about Vulture? And you can see overwhelmingly, folks thought that he's going to be kind of that lower side to that mid-interest champ, anywhere from 2.5 to 3 million. And based off of all the comments heavily swayed, even more than these numbers here, heavily swayed to that 2.5 to 3 million number. There was only a few people that thought he would make anything higher than 3 million. Jolt the Lightning Bolt here talks about he's average at best, mostly just a synergy champ for Sparky, and that was a common theme across most of the comments. That a lot of people thought, yeah, it does have a decent synergy with Spider-Man, with Spider-Man Stark Enhanced, but it's not going to be anything to carry him over that 3 million number. Bradley Turner here, though, did say 3 million to 3.5. Even though he's a newish champ, there's a lot of collectors out there. So maybe the fact that people that just don't have Vulture left, they like to have all the champs they possibly can. Maybe they'll push that number to 3 million. So this was the community input around the four-star basic Vulture arena. Now, when I asked you about the four-star feature Taskmaster, you can see that it wasn't as strong a majority. More thought that he would be towards that lower level, but when I to that 11 to 12 million range. But when I took a look at some of the comments, some of the folks mentioned there might be even an area between the 11 million to 12 to between that and the 15 to 16 million. So maybe somewhere like 13 to 14 million kind of thing. But anyway, you can see Mount Games here. This is the second time in the arena, and there's not much hype since he has interesting mechanics, but his damage output isn't that great. Coupled with the fact that his other utilities aren't that great, no regen, power control, other usable utilities, Mal Games is thinking Taskmaster's going to have a pretty low cutoff. With that said, he's thinking an 11 million kind of range. Now, Frank, on the other hand, here says because he's still relatively new and because people seem willing to grind for 20 million. I think that's a good point. Is that we saw even with Void, even though he's not the greatest champ, people will debate how if he's one of the better champs and the like best champs of the game category or kind of like that, second or third level down kind of thing. But even though that's the case, he did recently set the all-time high 20 million points for a four-star character. So I think that's a good point to keep in mind with Task Manager, especially, I said it again, Taskmaster. Even though, well, especially since I should say the Vulture, there's four-star basic. There's not going to be a lot of folks focused on that. They'll probably grind a little bit extra in the Taskmaster, but not tremendously, since again, a lot of folks might have already got him the first time he came through a month ago, kind of thing. So, with all the input, looking at the trends, plus the great input from the community, thank you very much again for that. For those folks who took the time to vote, and especially those folks who took the time to even provide some additional thoughts in the comment section. Here are my thoughts around round one predictions. I think Taskmaster is going to end right around 15 million. Probably 13, 14, 15. I was thinking people will push it down. I don't think he's going to go like real time high kind of thing. I do think it will push higher than what we've seen for old champs, right around 15 million. Top 10%, we've seen that number now kind of stick around that milestone of 4.5, so around 4.6 million. With that 11% shard tier, even though you don't see it listed here, still right around 2.5 million. Then we jump over to Vulture. I think he's going to be kind of like that Punisher 2099 King group, kind of between that 2.7 to 2.9 cutoff. I think that's where we're going to really see it here, with 11 to 25% coming at 1.6 million. And lastly, when we take a look at the Taskmaster 3-star arena, again, I think this is going to be more like a round two or beyond kind of, or an old champ, if you will, result where you're going to have a cutoff around 750,000 versus like if this was the first time Taskmaster would go through, we've seen those numbers are more like 1.3, 1.4, maybe even a 1.5 million. But because this is his second time through, I think it's going to kind of have that typical fall down to 750,000 in that range kind of thing, with the 11 to 25% shard tier coming in at 650,000. So these are my round one predictions for the veterans bracket. Now, what I always like to do, that's where I actually think that the cutoffs will be. So it's always a good idea to kind of put in a little buffer, just in case for whatever reason there's some extra grinding, and exceptions do occur, even because a lot of this stuff is based off of past results, and past results don't always guarantee future results. So here are my thoughts on like maybe the additional buffer you want to put in there to make kind of a safe number. 16 million for the 4-star feature Taskmaster, with a 4.7 for that top 10% tier, 2.6, 2.7 if you really want to get that 11% shard tier in the 4-star feature arena. Then when we jump over to Vulture, I think top 10% will be a good safe number, be just right over 3 million. Maybe some folks, I know I like to grind a kind of nice whole rounding numbers, and 3 million always sounds nice, so maybe go give yourself a little extra cushion there with that 3.1 million, with the limited 25% coming in at 1.7 million. And lastly, when it comes to the Taskmaster 3-star feature, if you go to 780,000, you should be completely fine there. And again, this is for the veterans bracket. When it comes to the beginner and intermediate brackets, here are my thoughts on those. Again, beginner bracket if you have a newer account, live for 1 to 30 days, and intermediate bracket if you've been live, if your account's been live for 31 to 60 days. 3-star feature, that's around 245,000 for the beginners. 4-star basic, right around 1.2, and the same thing for the 4-star feature is 1.2 as well for the beginners bracket. Now, when it comes to the intermediate bracket, my free-to-play account, I'm right in the middle of doing a lot of grinding for all my new free-to-play account. Well, not new, it's been new, been around for over 30 days now, but I'm in the intermediate bracket, so I've got a pretty good feel on this one. The 3-star feature, this used to be around 650,000. I've been able to grab that 3-star feature champ now, just getting under 500,000. So 525 should be a good number you should target for. I haven't been spending a lot of time in the 4-star basic since I was fortunate enough to grab a Starkey with one of my few 4-star crystals. So I'm going to keep it with this same number here on a 1.3 million. But now when it comes to the 4-star feature, that's where I've been spending a lot of my time grinding in the intermediate bracket. And I can tell you 1.7 for a decent champ like Taskmaster is a good place to focus. I know with Void I had to go to 2 million, and with 2 million I was ranking with Void 179 in round 1 and 165 in round 2. Going back to Archangel, I was able to grab him with that 1.7, 1.8 score, and I was just making it though, like with ranks like 195, 193, that kind of thing, and only the top 200 actually get the champ. So kind of keep that in mind if you two are or doing some grinding in their immediate bracket. So these are my thoughts on how I think the first round will go for the new Taskmaster and Vulture arenas. Would love to hear your thoughts, any questions, any builds, especially if you feel differently. Would love to talk about it down in the comment section. Put it down there and we can talk about it there for sure. And if you like this video, we'd really appreciate a thumbs up. And if you like this and other videos I have on the channel, we'd really appreciate a subscribe. Other than that, thanks a lot for stopping by and have a great day.